Hey guys, it's Angelique here, and I'm going to show you guys how to coat a screen for education use, and I'm also going to give you a little rundown of exposure room etiquette. Down here under the fabric screen printing table, you're going to see all of the education screens. One of our other fobs actually went through the task of numbering them all, so we like to keep them in numbered order, keeps them nice and organized. Over here behind the lithostones is where you're gonna find our coding block and our little coding station that I'll show you, and also the roll of newsprint that you're always gonna use to be coding. In the education studio, you can find different containers of the QTX, and it'll be labeled for education use only, so you'll know which one you should be using. And also right over here you can find our scoop coders, which should always be faced with blade side out to keep them nice and safe. Next thing I'm going to do is set up my coding station, which is going to be one of these boards, and then also one of these 2x4s, which is going to hold your screen up. Then we want to put a piece of newsprint on top of all of that to keep everything nice and safe and clean. Now I have everything ready to get my screen coated. I poured some of the QTX into the coater, and we have our blade side out, our base in. We have some little pieces of cardboard, which we're going to use to clean up some of the emulsion. And now we're going to get to coating. So when we want to coat, we want to get the blade onto the screen and pull up. And we're going to try to do this in one clean. So we're gonna get our scoop coater, some leverage, tilt forward until the emulsion hits the screen, and then pull straight up, giving it a lot of pressure. Okay, tilt back to get the emulsion back into the coater, go up. And then we're gonna do another pass just to get off any extra emulsion, because all we need is a nice thin coating. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to use our cardboard pieces, scrape up all that extra gunk off the side, because we don't want that running into our nice clean screen. Put that right on the newsprint. Depending on the educator, some people just want their screen coated one side, but also other educators want both sides coated to get a nice even exposure. So make sure with your educator who's teaching that class what they would want. Usually one coat is good enough, but if not, then we're going to flip the screen over. Tilt in, get that emulsion on the screen. Pull out. There you go, and see that extra gunk down there? We don't want that. Let's scrape that away. A little sticky. Clean that up. Get that blade. Awesome. And now we have a coated screen. After our screen's coated, we're going to move that into the exposure room so we can make sure it's nice and light safe. And in here is where you will store all of your coated screens to keep them nice and safe. This is a great example of how it should look. It's really organized right now. We have all the education screens that are coded, labeled for their classes. There we go. We have the exposure unit over here. Be nice to keep it nice and clean. And make sure there's always that twine in there for the vacuum. Nice and taped to the side. Our newest addition is our nice dehumidifier. And usually morning fobs will have to empty this out. It'll give you a little light up alert over here that says it needs to be empty. All you need to do is slide out this part and dump it in the sink. Whenever you're done with your scoop coater, you want to rinse that off with some nice water. Use a scrub brush to scrub that out, and then use a paper towel to dry that baby off. And then we're going to store that back on its shelf with blade side out. Thank you for joining me on this tutorial, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask your fob fellow.